Hello, and welcome to the Jared Hurst Podcast. This podcast is a place of transformation, growth, spirituality, and connection. This week, I want to talk with you a little bit about feeling worthy and deserving of our desires. But before I get into that, I want to address the elephant in the room. If you listen to my podcast regularly, you haven't been listening to it regularly. I told myself that I was going to be releasing an episode once a week for this entire year, and it has been a month and a half since I released a podcast episode, but for good reason. I made a promise to myself that I was going to be in a state of embodiment for 2026, and that was my main focus, is figuring out how to consistently be in the energy and the mindset that I want to be in. And as the universe likes to do, challenges immediately came into my life, which is great. I love it. To me, I look at a challenge as an opportunity for us to level up and be able to do something under pressure. There's no point in being able to make a free throw in a basketball game if you can't make a free throw when the crowd is screaming and yelling and the game is on the line, because if you miss that free throw, the game's going to be over. You have to be able to compete. You have to be able to perform under every situation in order to really have mastery of something. So to me, when all of a sudden challenges start happening, when I'm trying to do something big in my life, that's simply the universe, God, whatever you choose to believe, giving me the opportunity to master that principle at the highest level. Okay? Well, I had a lot of challenges in December, January, and February, but specifically in January and February, I felt like I handled those challenges incredibly well. I was really proud of the emotional spot I was in and the way I was handling everything. And then March hit. And March was so hard for me. It was one of the more emotional months I've had in a while. And I just decided to really focus on myself and figuring out how to get myself back to the energy that I wanted to be in. The place that I was in January and February, where the hard stuff came, but I rolled with it and just kind of kept in that same space that I wanted to be in. Now, that doesn't mean that March wasn't a good month as far as how I handled things. I'm really proud of how I handled things and how I worked through stuff. And looking back on it, I feel like I did a really great job for what I was going through. With that said, I processed the things that I needed to process. I got to the space that I wanted to. And then April has been up and down. I've had the first part of April, I was on top of the world. I got back into the space that I was for most of January and February. And then a couple of the things that came up in March have been hitting me again throughout April. And so that's why there hasn't been podcast episodes, is because I've been really focused on getting my growth and my processes and my tools where I need them to be for this time in my life. That doesn't mean that I wasn't in a really great space last year or in a really great space the year before, but we all have new levels to things. We conquer or we master something at one level, and then we have a new challenge that comes along. So when I look at where I'm at now compared to where I was even just back in December, I'm super proud of how I've grown. And when I look at where I'm at in December versus where I was a year before that, I'm really proud of how I've grown. So it's not that March and April, like I took major steps back. I was just dealing with high levels of challenge. And that's kind of how things are going to work going forward. If I can do podcasts, then I will do podcasts. If I feel like I need to focus on me, I'm going to focus on me. Because if I want to affect the world in the way that I want to affect the world, I have to be the highest version of myself. I have to have all the stuff that I'm working on down, and I have to have it mastered so that that way when those hard challenges come, they don't derail me. Because I have big dreams, and those big dreams come with big challenges. So the stuff I'm dealing with now probably isn't as big as the stuff I'm going to be dealing with months from now and years from now. So this is my time to learn. This is my time to grow. So here we are. I have been working a lot on a couple different concepts. One of the concepts I've been working on a lot is the way that we see ourselves and the way that the world sees us. And the other thing that I've been working on is this idea of feeling worthy and deserving of the things that we desire. You see it so much in life that we have things that come into our life and we don't feel like we really deserve it deep down, or we don't feel like we're worthy of it, or we don't believe that we're capable of doing it or sustaining it or whatever it might be. We just have doubts. We have fears. We feel out of alignment with that thing. And then what happens? When we don't feel like we deserve something, we start to push it out of our lives. Think about times that you've been in relationships with somebody that you don't really feel like you deserve. Like you're so excited to be with this person because you never thought that you could be with somebody like that. And what you do is you end up self-sabotaging. You say things to them. You challenge them and test them in ways that you wouldn't normally challenge and test people because there's part of you that's trying to see if they're going to stay. There's part of you that doesn't feel like you deserve them, so you push it away. And the same thing is true with financial success, business success, and everything else in life. Friendships. You know, you have times where you can really see this. Look at a person that wins the lottery. A lot of the times they do not align and identify as somebody who has lots of money. And so what do? They self-sabotage themselves. They start spending like crazy. Some of it's habits that they don't have, that they haven't developed, but some of it is a form of self-sabotage where they don't really feel like they deserve to have this money, and so then they start doing things in order to get them to a level that they feel comfortable with. And the same thing is true the opposite way. I have seen some incredibly successful people lose so much of what they have, and then they completely rebuild it. They go from having tons of money to having almost nothing to going back to having tons of money. And it's because they believe that they deserve to live that life. It is in alignment with who they are. It is part of their identity. And so they will move mountains in order to get back to what they deserve and how they feel they're supposed to be. I'm sure you can think of examples in your life. Sit back, think for a moment. Have you seen that? Where people have lost what they have and then they rebuild it. People start business and it fails. They start a business and it fails. They start a business and it fails. And then finally they have success. But sometimes that's because they have some underlying thing that's pushing them forward. But a lot of the times it's because they believe in it. They believe that that is what they're meant to have. It's part of their identity. It's part of what they feel worthy of and deserving of having. And so we have that same thing going on in our lives. This thermostat that keeps us within our comfort zone for everything we want. And even if it's not comfortable, it's still the zone in which we feel we're supposed to be in. Right? How many times do we allow ourselves and we put ourselves in situations where we're completely uncomfortable and a nervous wreck and scared to death, feeling like, wow, I can't, how am I going to survive? But we keep putting ourselves in that situation. Why? Because it's what we feel we deserve. There is a saying that is, we teach others how to treat us. I'm sure you've heard this before, and it's true. If you've ever paid attention, we teach other people how to treat us. I see it a lot of the times in real estate. People come in and they interact with me, and I have had people that they expect, no, they demand to have certain things in the real estate transaction. I am a seasoned real estate agent. I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm a really good agent, if I do say so myself. I know what I'm doing. And I have people that come in, and it doesn't matter what I think. They have an expectation that this is how it's meant to be done. Now, some of that is the fact that I want people to have a good experience. I want to meet their expectations. And so I adapt some of what I'm doing to them. But some of it is they teach me how they expect to be treated. Not that I mistreat other people. I treat everybody in the best way possible. My goal is to treat everybody as if they were my child and I were helping them through the real estate process, or a relative, or my best friend. Like, my goal is to never have anybody question that I'm looking out for their well-being, to take care of them, right? But I don't treat everybody the exact same way, because different people have different expectations. And those people demand that they are treated in a certain way. Sometimes it's a pain. I've had some people that their demands and what they expect makes my life incredibly difficult. And they actually end up hurting themselves in the process. I've had times where I advise people and I tell them what I think they should do, but they insist that something happens a certain way. I often tell new real estate agents that sometimes you just have to let people find out that the stove is hot by letting them touch it. You can tell them time and time and time again that if you make an offer like this, you are going to lose out on this house to somebody else that's making a better offer. And then they lose that house, just like you told them they would, because they won't listen to your advice. And part of it is getting better at delivering my message. But some of it is, some people just have it in their head that this is how it's meant to do and this is how it has to happen, and they just have to learn on their own. So there's this concept, you can see it in a lot of different areas, that we teach other people how to treat us. Well, guess what? The same thing is true for you. You teach yourself how to treat you. Your subconscious mind picks up on the way that you treat yourself. And so a lot of the times we have emotions that coincide with the way that we treat ourselves. The way that we teach ourselves what our worth is. We teach ourselves what our identity is. We teach ourselves, etc., etc., etc. So if you want to start feeling worthy and deserving of your desires, you have to start treating yourself like you are worthy and deserving of your desires. You have to take action that supports it. If you're constantly telling yourself, I deserve this, I deserve this, I deserve this, I deserve this, Great. Words matter. The things we think about matter. 100%. Focus on what you're telling yourself. Focus on your thoughts. And back it up with action. You ever been in a relationship or a friendship or whatever where people tell you everything you want to hear, but then they never support it with any of their action? Well, that's what you do with yourself a lot of the times. You say all the right things, but then when it comes action time, you never support it. You never show yourself that you actually feel deserving of this or worthy of this because you don't back it up. And it comes down to our faith and our focus. When I say faith, I don't mean religious faith, though that is important in its own right. Spiritual faith, that's important in its own right, whatever way you look at life. When I'm talking about faith, I mean your ability to believe that you're capable of something. If your thoughts and actions are saying, I deserve this thing, but you don't feel like you deserve it, right? Have you ever done like an affirmation or done something where you're trying to feel like you want to bring something into your life, and no matter how hard you try, it just feels out of alignment with who you are? You just feel bad or down or sad or depressed or whatever when you think about actually having that thing in your life. You don't really feel deep down like you deserve that thing or you're worthy of that thing. So you're telling yourself that, but your identity and your belief system is so out of alignment that it can't even accept this concept when you're feeding it to yourself. So start focusing on that through your actions, but also like start to build your faith that it's actually a possibility. If your goal is to drop 100 pounds and you think about yourself and you're like, I deserve to drop 100 pounds and I'm worthy of this. But then when you think about actually doing it, you feel just awful inside. It's out of alignment with you. So if you want to start getting yourself there, you have to start thinking about how you deserve it. And then you have to build faith that it's actually something that can happen. Your faith really comes from evidence, right? If you had faith that there is a supreme being that loves you, and you looked at your life and you saw zero evidence that that was actually true, how much faith would you have? Like, not a lot. It would be really hard to have faith in something that you felt that there was no evidence to support. What's the difference between somebody that has a lot of faith and somebody that doesn't have much faith? How they focus on it. You ever been around somebody that has like a ton of faith? They see every single piece of evidence that supports that their belief is true. They're constantly looking for it. They'll see it in the littlest stuff. See that butterfly that just flew by me? That's God showing me that He loves me. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying it's their focus. Their focus is they see the evidence that supports the belief. So if you go back and we're talking about this person that wants to believe they can lose 100 pounds, start taking action. And then look at the times that you've done things. Maybe you've lost weight before. Most of us have. Most of us have had a period of time. Maybe we haven't lost 100 pounds. But if you are somebody that has 100 pounds to lose, You've probably had some period in your life where you've lost 10, 20, 30 pounds. Most of us will focus on the fact that we put the weight back on instead of focusing on the fact that we actually lost some of it at some point. So don't focus on the wrong thing. Focusing on the wrong thing creates fear. Focusing on the right thing creates faith. And then, like I said, support it with action. Okay, you know what? I've lost 30 pounds before. I can lose 100. There's no reason I can't lose 100 if I've lost 30. The concept is sound. I just have to take it to the next level and be consistent long enough. Okay, I've never lost weight before, but have I been consistent in something? Yeah, I'm really consistent at X, Y, Z. That one thing I do, I'm really consistent at that. Can I see other people that have lost weight and had major body transformations? And what did they do? Okay, they did this, and they did this. Okay, so other people have done it. This is the formula for how to do it. I know that it takes consistency. I've been consistent at this other thing. I can do this. It's possible. I've never done this before, but I can do this because I can see evidence of it. I'm focusing on all the evidence that supports the idea that this thing is possible. Now, there's a lot of other things we can do in order to help us see ourselves differently, in order to feel deserving and worthy of the things that we want in life. We can do visualizations, we can do hypnosis, we can do affirmations, there's so many different things that we can dive into. I am a big fan of breathwork. Breathwork's great for that kind of thing. But just in your everyday life, things that you can do right now outside of me going in and diving deep and talking about everything under the sun that we can do, start changing your focus. Focus on the things that give you the belief that it's possible. Support it with action. Stop the behaviors that you do that are sabotaging yourself. Because we've all done that. I mean, to jump on the weight loss thing, how many times in my life have I done so well, eaten really well, worked out really well, done all of these things, and then it's like, well, I deserve a treat. And then I have a slice of pizza, and it's like, well, I had one slice of pizza, so I just eat the whole pizza. And I just completely self-sabotaged all the work that I just did for like the last week. Because I decided I was going to eat a whole pizza. Why? Because deep down, I don't feel like I deserve it. I don't feel like I'm worthy of it. I had to make a massive change to shift my body type. I used to be heavier. I was never like really, really obese, but I mean, I was heavy. I've had some moments in my life where significantly more than what I'm at now. And I had to reach a breaking point where I'm just like, never again. I'm never going to be like this again. And then I've shifted the way that I see myself. The way that I see myself now is completely different than the way that I saw myself 4 years ago even. And I have made a vow to myself that I'm never going to settle, and I'm never going to like ease back into that. Because there's a part of my brain that wants to go back to that. It'd be really nice to just eat whatever the heck I want, not work out every day, etc., etc. But I see myself differently. I love the fact that I have the discipline and the work ethic in order to do what I do now, and I'm in the best shape of my life. I can honestly say that. I am in the best shape of my life. I still have more that I want to do, but I'm there. And I had to reach a breaking point. I had to shift the way that I saw myself, etc. You can do it too. Start changing the way that you see yourself. Believe that you're worthy and deserving of the thing that you desire. If you struggle feeling like you're worthy or deserving of the thing that you desire, start taking on the identity of a version of yourself that does feel worthy and deserving of that. Stop the self-sabotage. Start changing your focus. Start taking action. Start building your faith by looking for the things that show you you're capable of doing that. And then keep taking action. Be consistent. Consistency will solve a lot of problems. I believe in you and know that you can do it. And until next time, remember that you are not alone.